Section 5 from Chapter 0 is about solving linear equations. Okay, again, review from Algebra 1, so it shouldn't be brand new information. Okay, the first thing that we're going to review is the properties of equality. All right, and essentially these properties of equality are what we can use to solve linear equations. Okay. These first four, addition, subtraction, multiplication, and the division property of equality, these are all what keep equations balanced. And this is like if you've got 5x plus 3 equals 13, you subtract. So it would be easier if I could. If you've got 5x plus 3 equals 13, and you know, hey, I need to subtract 3 from both sides, that is the subtraction property of equality. We can subtract the same thing from both sides to keep the equation balanced, okay? So it's really, really important to remember that these properties happen to both sides of an equation, okay? To keep that equation balanced, okay? Now we've got the distributive property, and then simplifying and combining like terms. Those things only change half of the equation, one side. Okay. And we'll see some examples of that as we go through the notes. But it's really important to understand when to use the addition, subtraction, multiplication, division, those operation properties compared to some of these other properties. Okay. Change inside of the equation. All right. Now, we are going to jump into what we, in geometry, we call them two-column algebraic proofs. Okay, and this is just one method to organize your work. Okay, it's not the end-all be-all. If this doesn't click right away, take a breath. No big deal. All right. But if you were given just the equation, before we kind of jump into this proof here, if you were given the equation 2x minus 13 equals negative 5. All right, the first thing that I see, I'm going to add 13 to both sides. All right, that gives me 2x equals 8. All right, and then to get x by itself, since this is 2 times x, I divide both sides by 2, and that gives me x equals 4. Okay, notice what I get down here is what I'm trying to prove. Okay, so I'll put that in yellow. All right, also notice here, we added 13 to both sides of an equation. That's this addition property of equality. That's how we got from our given information to this second step here. Okay. Also notice we divided both sides by 2. That's that division property of equality to get to that last statement, that prove statement here. Okay. So again, I cannot stress this enough. This is just a different way to organize the information, how you show us your work. Okay. Nothing is changing about how we're solving these equations. Okay. But we'll do an example together here. Okay. And anytime that we do a proof, we always start with this given information here. That's our first statement. Okay, and that reason is because that information was given to us. Okay. Now, second step, what I see I would go ahead and add 8 to both sides here. Okay. And if you on this, like the right half of this paper, if you want to solve the equation first and then go back and write the proof, you're more than welcome to do that. Okay. And this is like a good way to kind of check your work, I guess, because you will get that X value at the end. All right. But if we add 8 to both sides, that is the addition property of equality. And I'm going to abbreviate that because that's a lot to write. Okay. On the left side, I'm left with 5x plus 1 over 2 equals 8. Okay. Next, personally, I'm going to multiply both sides by 2. That would be that multiplication property of equality. Okay. Left side, I'm left with 5x plus 1 equals 16 then on the right side. Okay. Next, I'm going to go ahead and subtract 1 from both sides. That's my subtraction property of equality. I'm left with 5x equals 15. And last but not least, to get x equals 3, I use that division property of equality. Okay? So again, nothing is changing how I'm solving this. I'm just showing my work in a different way. All right. Here's another one. All right. Again, this entire piece here that we're given is our first statement. That first reason is given. Okay. Second step here, I notice that we are taking -4 times x and times the -3. That is our distributive property. Okay. And that distributive property, when we do that, that gives us a -4x plus 12. Goodness gracious. Plus 12 plus 5x equals 24. Okay, so remember, distributive property, that's one of those properties that only changes one side. So we didn't do anything to the right side of this equation. We only changed the left side. Okay. Next, I notice that I've got 2 terms that have x on one side. Okay, so this is an instance where I am going to combine like terms, or if you just want to write simplify, you can do that as well. Okay, but I am taking this term that has an x and this term that has an x, both on the left side of that equation, and I am combining them. Okay, so -4 plus 5 is x. We didn't change the plus 12, and we did not change 24. All right, and to get to x equals 12, we used the subtraction property of equality. Okay. Now, these last 2 examples here, we do not have to use the 2-column method. We're just going to solve these like regular linear equations. Okay, we're still using those properties. We're just not organizing it in that 2-column format. Okay, what I see here, I've got 2 different cases of distributive property. All right, 2 times 5 is 10. 2 times -3 gives us a -6a. All right, this minus stays with the 4, so we've got -4a minus 28 equals 92. Okay, again, that's all the distributive property. I see two terms here, a negative 6a and a negative 4a. Those I can combine. And a positive 10 and a negative 28. Those I can combine. All right, so I've got minus 10a. 10 minus 28 is a negative 18. Still haven't changed the right side at all. Okay, add 18 to both sides. Negative 10a is 110. And divide both sides by negative 10. Gets me a equals negative 11. Okay. Last one here. I'm going to start by subtracting 1/2 from both sides. Okay. 4 written as a fraction is 4 over 1 or 8 over 2. So when we subtract 1/2 from 8 over 2, we get 7/2. Okay. And we divide both sides by a negative 3. That gives us r to be a negative 7/6.